This is an overview of the FocusPoint rental solution. So the customer I'm going to focus on is F&M Mafco, or also called Amico. So they do container drops for project sites. So I'm going to log into the primary site. And upon logging in, I'm going to be presented with the dashboard. Now that I'm in the dashboard here, I'm impersonating a customer who's in charge of a project location, also called a Strikeforce location for this particular customer. So immediately what I can see here is the products that are in this container that belong to this project. So I'm actually logged into a project at this point. I can see everything that's currently assigned out into the field out of this container. So I can see that there's a 15-foot long, 3-ton lever hoist that's out there. I can drill into this to get more information on this particular product. Okay, so now that I'm inside this project, I can see that I have a manufacturer part number, a SKU. Anything in the SAP system is going to be fair game. Or if you're running a full rental here at a FocusPoint, a lot of data can be stored just in FocusPoint, but typically most of the item master information can be stored in SAP Business One. So I can assign this out to the field, for example. Let's just say that this was needed. I can assign them out. However, I can see my stock quantity is 0 here, so I get my requested quantity is greater than available. So I'll go back now here and show you another example of one that we can look to check out. Now I have a fast checkout button here, but I'm just going to drill in just so I can see the information here. So here we have 483 of these 15-pound capacity bungee cords. So I'm going to now place 10, but in this case here, I have the option where I can buy these. So if I don't want to rent, I want to buy, I can add these to my cart. So a lot of contractors will buy this equipment from Mafco. So here I've ordered 10. Now let's take a look as if I go to the cart. The cart basically is a commerce way to actually check out. So inside here, I have the request date. Now this can be done also in the tool room, which I'll talk about momentarily. So I can request the time that I need the tool if I'm going to come pick it up. And I can pick a particular cost code that I'm affiliated to. If it doesn't exist here, I can add it. The interesting thing here is that cost codes are associated to business partners for the checkout, and they can have a one-to-many relationship. So the system can basically store cost codes per business partner or effectively per customer. So let's move in through the checkout now. So the first thing that's going to happen here is I may want to ship this to a site, or I can pick it up at a specific location. So if the location is actually at the job site, that's fine. That can happen. If I can continue on here, I'm just going to get a confirmation screen here. Now, I have some additional options around the pick-pack process. So where this would normally generate a sales order, which it will in SAP B1 automatically, I can decide if I want to pick the order during the checkout and skip the pick-pack confirmation procedure in SAP. So just by confirming here, I can now get to a screen where I can now pick these. So I have requested, now because I have one warehouse, which is technically the container, I can pick all 10. And at this point, if there was any discrepancy of what was missing, then there's workflows to deal with that. And now it could complete. Or I could decide, you know what, I'm going to have this picked later. I just want to secure the sales order, and I'll pick it later. Now, there are many other workflows, as I mentioned here. So these ones here are purchase, or they can be rented, so they can be both. So let's click on this Harrington product here. Now, again, instead of saying add to cart, it's back to assign to field here. So there's no cost. And I can get 3 basically assigned to the field. So maybe I just want to get 2 of them and get those assigned to the field. Now, it still mimics going through the cart process, but it's abbreviated. And it's just to acknowledge that the logged in user has basically requested to check out or assign to field, and then that process basically is almost instantaneous. I do want to point out that the digital downloads are sitting down here, so if there's operating instructions or any kind of compliance type things, certificate of testing, for example, in this case, they can be found right here. If this was a tool room, as an example, the entire system is on a mobile device for barcode scanning. So this entire process, what I'm showing right now in this video, is web driven. Everything you're seeing here is on the mobile side as well, and it's all barcode driven. Okay, let's take a look now at how the checkout process would work for that rental that I put in here. So same idea, I have my cost codes, jump into the checkout, going to move through it really quickly here and just get down to that confirmation step. Now, here's the difference between when we were buying versus renting, because we have a discrepancy, right? So in here, I can now pick from my bins. So I'm in my container, I got my UUN numbers, and I have my bin. I want to have, in this case, I'm just trying to request one. I haven't picked any yet, and now I can pick from one of these bins. So the inventory control system at a FocusPoint for the rental program is basically tracking all the inventory that is at all these various bins. So now I can pick from the bin, and now it shows I've picked one, and my discrepancy is gone. So this kind of extends the use case that I previously talked about. Let's pivot now to take a look at some of the bulk ordering capabilities of the system. So the system is heavily barcode driven. This demonstration or video is done through the web, so you can see what a full desktop experience would look like. But again, everything really is driven. So it's not necessarily practical at all times to be, going through a web presentation layer like we've done up to the point in this video. Many times this is all about, I just need to barcode scan these things. So you have the bulk order grid, of course, that's still available on the web, and it works just like an order pad. So you can scan as much as you want to basically either buy or rent, or effectively check in and check out. So that's how the order grid kind of functionality operates. In the case where you are buying, it's going to have the business partner special price or a price list associated to it, and so on. So jumping into the inventory grid, so it's important for the people at the tool shop to know what is still in inventory. They're doing their inventory counts. So I need to know exactly what I have and what I don't have to make sure there's no discrepancies. And again, I have my insert scan here, so it's listening for the barcode, but I can jump over to my SKU list here and I can see all my inventory counts. So the stock quantity and the inventory count should line up. If they don't, then there are discrepancies to deal with. These grids can be filtered, searched. So you have your contains, and then you can chain these together to basically find everything that's going on in that inventory for this project. And it'll track it like a project as well, so that these things can be scheduled to be rented in the future, for example. So while many of these products that are checked in and checked out exist for this particular project, at some point they'll go back to general inventory and then be moved a year later or what have you to another project. So all this, of course, is included and has its own workflows and use cases against it. Take a quick look at the reporting aspects of the solution. So underneath the account section, you have full access to a lot of reports. This panel, basically over here on the left, is going to track most of the things that you're interested in. So we have the cost code editor, for example, the inventory cycle grid, general reports, the order portal, order by history, and some SAP reports as well. So let's go ahead and just take a quick look at the cost code editor, for example, and just open this in a new tab. So when we looked at the start, I was looking on when I was checking out, I had these particular barcodes or cost codes associated to me. All right, so as a logged in user, these are my cost codes that I'm able to manage. But of course, the system is capable of hosting individual ones for business partners. So there's actually thousands of cost codes in the system. If I wanted to take a quick look at the order portal, I can do that. This is a full 360-degree view of everything going on SAP Business One. So I can search by the from date, the to date, the document number, and the SKU. And I have the contract site number that I can search on that as well. I just did a fast switch there so I can show some test data from a system. So this system has plenty of information in it. So history, invoices, deliveries, quotes, returns, credit notes, everything that happens on sales orders or any of these documents are going to be fair game to view. So here I can view a sales order download. I can look at invoices, also anything that's generated crystal reports or any documents residing in SAP are going to be available here for me. So same with deliveries here. And again, in the case of rental, this may not be applicable, but it just demonstrates the capability of the FocusPoint portal. Credit memos as well here, if there's any documents or credit lines, they can be applied to invoicing. So this is the SAP portal itself. Okay, coming back into the MAFCO solution, let's go ahead and look into the reports. All right, so here we are. We have everything that is out of the box, plus you can customize and make any report that you want. So any data that's accessible for the rental solution is available here. So I can look at assets on hand or consumables on hand. Let's take a look at consumables on hand. Remember, we're in the context of a project site. All right, so this is already technically filtered data. So inside here for this project, or this construction site, this is all my stock quantities. We recall seeing some of this on the inventory grid when we looked at that earlier. All right, so this is a way that you can see it from a reporting perspective, but it's also filterable, of course, so I can filter product numbers and product descriptions in here. Any report can be loaded, as I mentioned, in here. So this is just some of the out of the box, but lots can be loaded here with color coding. Anything you can do in Crystal Reports effectively can be done here. And like we saw on the portal, if you have a Crystal Report already generated in SAP Business One, then it's already available here and filtered by that business partner that you're logged in as. There are other fast views as well. For example, if I look at my order by history, I'm able to get a fast grid with some flyout order filters here and just immediately place quantities for anything I'm going to rent or buy. All right, so just very quickly, and I can see the stock on hand if I want to toggle that. In this case here, it's just a quick grid. Again, all available on the mobile app. So everything that you're doing to manage the check-in, check-out, the rental, or the purchasing of equipment like this has many, many options to view the data. So this is just a brief look at the FocusPoint rental solution. Contact us at FocusPointSAP.com for more information.